starts now.
The weather chills down a bit. Leaves fill the streets. Evenings get darker. A perfect context for Halloween season films. I call these Halloween season films as opposed to horror because anything that creeps us out or leaves us with the shivers is a perfect complement to the season. Horror is often associated with Halloween, but horror is a very broad category that has evolved over the decades. Something that horrifies me might merely make you sad, curious, or analytical. The genre of horror is produced to elicit a feeling of fear in the audience, and so many types of films can do that. So this list won't be called a horror film list per se, but a decent reference list of films that are perfect for the Halloween season. So get your search engine ready. Here are some very interesting films for your Halloween season watch list. The Exorcist. This is a classic, and it has it all. Demonic possession, unknown sounds from those dark and less visited parts of the house, gray skies, gruesome deaths, the Catholic Church. All the ingredients are here, and this film still holds up as one of the scariest in its genre. The Shining. It was originally called a new breed of horror. It's accompanied by panoramic cinematography, an outstanding musical score, and the intensity of Jack Nicholson. An empty house can be eerie enough, but this family has an entire hotel without staff and guests throughout the winter, and the hotel itself is a character with a very dark past. Rosemary's Baby. The old apartments of Sutton Place or Tudor City in New York are as elegant as they can be ghostly and creepy, especially when someone lives next door who belongs to a satanic cult. Not only is this a classic film that constantly elicits fear in the viewer, but the actor who played Rosemary's elderly friend is none other than Maurice Evans, who played Dr. Zaius in Planet of the Apes. The Omen, both the first and second films. There's something about the Catholic Church that works well in Halloween season films, whether it's the rituals or the secrecy of the organization, and The Omen's first two films positions that something squarely against the story of a successful political appointee and his wife who adopt a baby, an infant who originates from Satan himself. Frankenstein. Boris Karloff plays this so-called monster so endearingly that the viewer feels the story sometimes more properly fits into romance or tragedy. But this age-old masterpiece is squarely situated in the annals of classic horror. The Bride of Frankenstein is an equally brilliant film. Black and white is a natural canvas for this genre. Nosferatu. I think two of the features of this film that make it particularly frightening are the fact that it's a silent film, and those old silent pictures have a certain eeriness to them as it is, as well as it's one that relied heavily on lighting to convey the feeling and context of fear. This one is done so well, and at nearly 100 years old, it should be a foundational Halloween season film for anyone. The Wicker Man, the original version from 1973. This is not what many would call a horror film, but I think it's appropriate in the Halloween season category. It's weird, just plain weird, in a creepy and eerie way. While it's set up as a detective mystery, the terror of someone being burned alive in the Burning Man type structure is downright hardcore. There are some weird scenes in this one, notably the ecstatic dance scene, and of course the pagan costumes are pretty creepy. Mothman Prophecies. Although set in the pre-Christmas season, this film taps into ancient legends of beings that appear prior to disasters and catastrophes. Richard Gere is excellent in this. Couple that with a gray, chilly weather setting, a journalist who is doubly haunted by his wife's recent death, as well as his obsession to learn the truth about these mysterious beings. Even Gere's character, Mr. Klein, seems genuinely freaked by the telephone conversation with the being and the fact that it can see and sense everything. This one is guaranteed to give you long-term chills from at least a couple of scenes. There are plenty of gore, slasher, and screamer movies out there. They tend to occupy the space of most top 10 lists, so hopefully this list offers at least a little more variation on the themes that are intended to elicit fear. Visit stephenchristiansen.ca for more episodes. This podcast is available on all streaming platforms including Anchor, Apple, TuneIn, Amazon, and Spotify. I'm Stephen Christiansen. Thanks for listening.
A production of Steven Christensen. Podcast complete.